The Kenyan government, with the help of the United States of America, has dismantled a Mexican cartel. And now we go to South Africa. So people of various organizations came down the street to protest and to voice themselves. Who are these people? Civil organizations and trade unions joined the march. There was a big march in South Africa. My people, if something is not working correctly, you must fix it. Fellas. So, there was a lady coming to the comment section saying, why do you always say fellas? There are ladies here, that's what you do. I see you, my ladies. I greet you and I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being here. When I say fellas, I see all of you. I know, should I say fellas and ladies? No. I see you. You're my people. Okay? Let's get back on track. We are in Kenya. Now, in Kenya, something drastic has happened. The Kenyan government, with the help of the United States of America, has dismantled a Mexican cartel. Mexican cartel in Kenya. My brothers, this is crazy. Look at Mexico. Here's Mexico. Look at Kenya. See the distance? How much is the distance between Mexico and Kenya? The Kenyan government has dismantled a lab from a Mexican cartel. This is absolutely crazy. In September, a lab producing methamphetamine, a deadly synthetic drug, was dismantled by Kenyan police. The State Department now reveals that it belonged to a Mexican cartel. Mexican cartel in Kenya.
At a closer look, we found there are some factory-like things which were set up, and there were chemicals too. In drums, others in cartons. So immediately I instructed the OCS to bring in officers. We cordoned off the area. We left the area under guard and escalated the matter to the higher authorities.
What are the Mexicans doing in Kenya? This is absolutely insane. So Kenya's authority, in collaboration with international partners are the CIA. Okay, it's the intelligence service of the United States of America. How did they know this? Big question mark. We'll get back to that. They dismantled a methamphetamine production lab in Namanga, a town near Kenya and Tanzania border. Here's this. You can see Namanga is right next to Tanzania. All these countries used to be the same people many years ago, until the white man came and separated them and created what they call countries. That's why you sometimes see the same people on both sides of the border. Okay, Masai, you see these people are Masai? You find Masais in Kenya. Yeah, a lot of them. You also find Masais in Tanzania. Now the question is, Masais are Kenyans or Tanzanians? You see, you can't answer that. And Masai apparently cross from Kenya to Tanzania, vice versa, without necessarily having to be asked for any visas or any passport, because the authority understand that they belong there. Anyway, let's continue. So the operation in Namanga was linked to a cartel named Jalisco Nueva Generación, a notorious Mexican drug cartel. The lab was reportedly in the early stage of setup, with samples and structures in place, but had not become fully operational. My brothers, so the Mexicans have come to Africa to implant laboratories. Normally, South America will send shippings through West Africa going to Europe. Now they are going to Kenya, not to ship things, but to create labs. Why is that? Because apparently Kenya is a big user as well. So it's not just for shipping. It's for normal local consumption as well as shipping. So instead of getting them to come from all the way from Mexico, where they're probably going to have a lot of chances of being noticed and blocked, let's just create a lab in Africa, with the help of who? Of Africans, to get this going. 6 individuals were arrested. Who are these individuals? Mexican and Nigerian nationals associated with the cartel. Nigerian people. I don't know what to do anymore. I mean, sometimes they're trying to protect you, you're trying to say, okay, it's not Nigerians and stuff like that. Why is there not a Ethiopian? Why is there not a Ugandan? Why not a South African? I mean, look at Nigeria, okay? And look at Kenya. Look at the distance. Now, just look at the distance. I mean, you may say, well, there was a Nigerian because he was not my brother. Look at Nigeria. Look at Kenya. Why the people arrested were not Somalians? Because Somalia is right here. Why not Rwandans? Why not Ugandans? Why not Tanzanians? Why Nigerians always involved in weird, drugged corruption? I don't know. This is crazy. There must be a seed somewhere. I'm sorry you triggered. I don't give a continental that you triggered, but you can't do something over and 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 say, no, it's not you. It's not. I mean, come on. Where are these people coming from? You know, Africa needs to start punishing at the highest level. And this is the reason why Africa can't come together. Because some countries feel like if we open our borders to other Africans, they're going to bring mayhem in our countries. Are they wrong to say that? No, they're not completely wrong. Would you leave your door open knowing that the neighbor is a rapist or an unaliver? Or would you do that? You wouldn't do that. Even if you say hi to the neighbor, he looks just like you. This is the reason why Africa can come together. And Africa needs to come together so we can stand strong against any other oppressors. But Africans cannot come together while some Africans' job is just money laundering, money looting, guns, human trafficking, drugs. Why? Like why? Why do you love money so much? And this is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. Nigeria need to do something about this. You can't have something repeated over and over. Anyway, let's continue our take. Now, some people say Nigerians will do anything for money. Like they will do anything. Not all Nigerians. They're talking about a specific tribe, apparently. A specific tribe. There's even a guy that comes on the comment section saying that Biafra should be separated from Nigeria. And this is something that the British have done. They forced some people that were not supposed to live together. I'm just being honest with you. Some group of people that not necessarily don't like each other are now part of the same country and they're forced to live together. And some people that are actually real cousins and real brothers have been separated. Anyway, so this is the first confirmed large-scale Mexican operation in Kenya, according to the US Department. And according to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Kenya is a global hub for drug trafficking. Heroin from Asia, cocaine from Latin America transit through Kenya. My brother's from Kenya. I know also, Kenya is a beautiful place. People love parties and stuff. But don't copy everything, okay? Let's keep Kenya safe. And this is crazy. So who is this Mexican cartel? The Jalisco Nova Generation. It's a powerful, violent Mexican drug cartel that originates in the state of Jalisco, Mexico, and is one of the most dangerous and influential cartels in Mexico, known for its violent tactic, involvement in large-scale drug trafficking, money laundering, and other organized crime. This is crazy because you don't want these people to come to your country. I'm telling you, my brother. You don't want those Mexican cartels to come and sit down in your country and have a lab where they make methamphetamine locally. I'm telling you, those people in Mexico cannot be controlled by the government and the military. And your African nations have weak militaries. There's nothing you're going to be able to do against these people. Nothing you can do against them. Don't let them in, and do not allow the Nigerians and any other nation to bring those people in your country. Don't do that. Chase them away. And I'm preaching you goodness of heart. We don't want nonsense in Africa. Go do it in your country or go do it somewhere else. Don't bring those people, because those people abduct people. They unalive people. They take over countries. They've taken over Mexico. Mexico is not entirely controlled by the government because of these people, and you're bringing them in other people's country. Well, are Kenyans involved in some situations that are shady at that level? Well, yes. Internationally, there have been Kenyans that have been arrested for drug trafficking or for transporting drugs. One of the prominent cases is that of Margaret Duta Macharia, a 37-year-old Kenyan woman that was arrested in Vietnam in July 2023 for attempting to smuggle over 2 kilograms of cocaine concealed in her luggage. Look, I believe some people would do things like this because they're going through the most. The mother is in hospital, the father's got cancer, the child doesn't have anything to, they're perhaps trying to do this. Then you get the other side of people that do it just because they want to drive big Range Rovers, big G-Wagons, build houses in, These are completely two groups of people, but one doesn't justify the other, or one is not better than the other. The government of Kenya has faced criticism for its handling of drugs and trafficking cases, particularly concerning a low prosecution and conviction rate. So people don't really get convicted at a high rate, apparently, in Kenya. Factors such as corruption, porous borders, and strategic location of Kenya along major drug trafficking routes contribute to the persistence of this issue. Efforts to address these challenges include enhancing border security, strengthening legal framework, and collaborating with international partners to combat drug trafficking. So some people believe that some people in higher power in Kenya could be involved in these activities. Maybe government people. I mean, this is not new because we all know that in Sierra Leone, There was a young man, big drug trafficker, who brought over 7,000 kilograms of drug in Europe. Has run away from Europe, is now based in Sierra Leone, and he was seen next to the daughter of the president. And when the government was asked by the Dutch to send that man back to face trial, the government said, we've never seen this man here. We don't know him. The one you saw in the video was not him. And many people are questioning what's happening in this country. Later on, they found the same man with the Minister of Immigration giving him present. The international system have asked you to send a recognized drug dealer back to Europe to be prosecuted, but you say you don't know him. But we can see you in a video receiving present from the same person. Now people are questioning, is the government in Sierra Leone involved in the trafficking of drugs? I mean, would this be crazy to think? You have your people that do major things into that activity that are protected by your government. Why are they protected by your government? How come your intelligence service don't know that this man that's next to your daughter is a big drug dealer? I mean, question mark. Could this be the same case in Kenya happening right now with the help of the Nigerians? I'm just being honest with you. You can hate me how much you want. If you hate me so much, click on the button, send me $10. Yeah, join so I can understand that you really hate me. And now we go to South Africa. Yes, South Africa, beautiful place, lovely people. You need to go visit South Africa. It's a lovely place. No, not everybody xenophobic. Yeah, not everybody's xenophobic. Okay, it's a specific group of people from a specific place. If you know them, even the way they speak, you can identify them. Not every South African is xenophobic. Actually, you're gonna find some of the best people in Africa in South Africa. I found some very good friends when I went to South Africa. I made some very good connections, some very good business partnership. You know, I own things in South Africa. In many African countries, you know, I'm not going to name here, but yeah, many African countries I own things. They're functional. It's good. It's great. Where there's peace, you will see me. Where there's natural good things, you'll see me. So initially I used to go even where there's war, because where there's war there's money, you know that. But then my conscience say you shouldn't be involved in things that okay, let me just shut up. Okay. So people of various organizations came down the street to protest and to voice themselves. Who are these people? Civil organizations and trade unions joined the march. There was a big march in South Africa. And this is what they say. We regard the United States of America as a direct, immediate threat to global peace and political freedom. We reject Donald Trump's interference in South African domestic affairs with contempt. We regard those who collaborate with him as enemy of the people. This is what Mr. Franceman Marius said. With regard to Palestine, they demanded that the government calls for immediate release of all Palestinian political prisoners, with special emphasis on Marwan Barghouti and other political leaders. So these are people that supporting Palestine and Cuba in South Africa. They also asked to introduce a legislation prohibiting dual citizenship between South Africa and the country you don't name. So the country you don't name is by some people accused to be the reason why Donald Trump is going at South Africa right now. So many South Africans have come to the street to say we need to introduce a legislation prohibiting double citizenship between South Africa and the country you don't name, because they always revert to the country you don't name. If they have to choose between South Africa and the country you don't name, they will always choose the country you don't name. And they also say for the matter of Cuba, the organization also calling for the Cuban embargo issue to be elevated to the African Union agenda as a continental priority requiring United African Union. So they want African Union to speak about Cuba, to do something about Cuba. Cuba has been sanctioned for a lot of years now, since the 1960s, where Americans wanted to come and do business in Cuba, and the Cuban didn't want them to do business in Cuba. Then the Americans took one side of Cuba and they've stayed there. Even though the Cubans have asked Americans to leave Cuba, they have not left. Imagine. That's exactly what some people accuse Russia of, taking Ukraine that doesn't belong to them. I mean, Russians and Ukraine have a story. Americans and Cubans don't have a story. Americans have a site in Cuba where the Cubans don't want them, but they're there. But Cuba is sanctioned. They can't trade. They can't exchange. Look at how Cuba is. I mean, it looks like 1960s because they cannot trade. They cannot exchange. They cannot buy. But Cuba has done great in spite of the sanction. They have the best doctors in the world. They have the best schooling when it comes to material, not in infrastructure. But they keeping on. So South Africans are giving support to Cuba and Palestine. Kenya has become a big place, interesting for cartels from Mexico. My brother, those people don't think they will take your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your cousin, everyone. They will put them in the same box. They will, yeah, you don't want any of that. And anybody who is involved in such operation, I think, yeah, should be treated in a way that is rough. Okay, the Chinese people unalive people. Okay, in Vietnam, I believe that lady was unalived. Okay, even the Kenyan government begged for her, but yeah, unalive. China just unalived Canadians. 4 Canadians been unalived for drugs. And the Filipino president was unaliving people. I mean, when people want to get involved in things that are to that level, because when you bring drugs into Kenya with Mexican cartel, it's not just drugs anymore. Now people are going to be unalived because those people don't play. Then if a Nigerian brings that stuff, you must deal with him. You must deal with him. Deal with him. You must slap him. You shut up. Oga Brandon.